Today we're going to cover the top 5 mistakes that beginning motorcyclists make. So the first problem I'm going to talk about right now is leaning into the curve. Now, when you read things online, you might physics, had a physics teacher. That's actually where I got this idea from. Multiple physics teachers who honestly didn't ride motorcycles, so I don't know why the hell I ever listened to them, right? I teach physics sometimes, and I also ride motorcycles too, so don't listen to anybody who don't ride motorcycles for trying to teach you about this stuff. Anyways, so what you're going to see is they're going to say you're on your bike, right, and say if you want to turn to the left, right, you should lean to the left, right? You should lean the bike to the left. Okay, so if I'm on the bike and I'm leaning to the left, right, then yeah, the bike's going to turn to the left. Not a good idea, okay? The thing is that the bike should lean left, right? But when the bike goes to the left, right, you got to move to the right, yeah? You got to go with the opposite direction to keep the center of balance steady. If you go right this way, then the whole bike's going to tip over and you're going to go flying. I remember the first time that the faster you go, the more it's going to try to keep you upright. So I remember when I was first learning, I had read that from I had heard that from some of my physics teachers, and I was like, okay, yeah, I didn't make that mistake again. So you might read some literature online where it says like lean into the curve. Yeah, lean the bike into the curve. Do not lean yourself into the curve. Watch the high-speed motorcyclist racers when they're in these curves. You will not see them leaning into the curve like that. So that's a big no-no. Okay. Number 2, okay, a big problem. Most accidents actually do not happen with another vehicle involved, thankfully, right? But what does that mean? It just means it's 100% rider error. So what happens is that, usually when you're on straightaway, it's hard to mess up. But when you make a turn or a curve, that's where all the exciting bad things happen. So if you go too fast into a curve, that can definitely cause all kinds of problems. And it's very easy to not really calculate it correctly. And that takes experience. And, the really dangerous part is when you start to feel like you're getting it, and then you start to take those curves a little bit faster. It's bad news, yeah? And then you feel yourself in the curve braking, and that's a big no-no, you know what I mean? So, look, I've done it before. You might be tempted to do it, and it's very hard to not do it. But really what you should be doing is leaning more into the curve to really get you to where you need to go, to get that extra little turn out of it. It can be very disturbing, especially what if there's a car right in front of you? What if you're in hot traffic and everybody's going 60 and they all decide to take this curve super hard? Yeah, don't play those games, man. Do not play those games. Yeah. So don't go too fast into a curve. Number 2, that's most mistakes. Yeah, and remember 90% of, I've heard numbers as high as 90% of motorcyclists get in a serious accident the first year. So don't be a statistic, man. Was I in some accidents probably my first year? Yeah, probably. But luckily I'm still here and I got all my body parts and everything's still working good, so no problems, yeah? The third problem is actually riding the clutch. So the thing is that most of your bikes nowadays will still be, even though cars, there's almost no more stick shift cars, the thing is that bikes are still pretty much, you got to change those gears, which I enjoy, by the way, to tell you the truth. So the thing is that when you turn the throttle all the way, yeah, if I keep the clutch engaged like this, right, if I keep the clutch closed, then the thing is that, that bike's not going to go anywhere. It's going to make a lot of noise for no reason, and then it's not going to go anywhere. Now, the thing is that, when you're taking off, right, if you can keep the throttle on, medium, yeah, I wouldn't even turn it on super high. It's not a good idea. But and we'll talk about, you could make it super high, yeah, and then when you release, right, the clutch the clutch is spinning, and this is catching to the motor, yeah, and there's friction that really makes it work together. And if you are actually spinning this piece at a very, very high speed, and then also you make it engage, then it's going to shear off some of that, more parts of that clutch, and that's going to reduce the lifespan of that clutch. So it might not seem like a big deal, right, because you can get away with it for quite a while, but it's going to die pretty fast, your clutch, yeah. And the thing is that when you're taking off from a stationary position, or even when you're going into the when you're coming to a stop, right? Like, you can shift into neutral and just use your brake, and not have to like keep the clutch engaged. Or I wouldn't even say it's necessary to you can downshift to a certain extent. You can use engine braking and things like that, but those things will eat at your clutch as well. So you don't really need to overdo like using the clutch too much, yeah. And there's something called the friction zone, which is taught in a lot of schools, right? So like the thing is that when you have the throttle maybe medium, yeah, and then you have the clutch in different positions of open and closed, yeah, then if I have open a little bit, then I'm going to go forward. Even if I turn the throttle up way up, I'll just go forward, a little bit. So this is almost like a reverse accelerator, yeah? But if you rely on this too much, right, actually you should try to really work more on using your throttle to control your speed. And that comes with practice. And work on it. Yeah, it's very easy to get into a habit of just using this for everything. And then you're going to kill your clutch. So I burned out a couple clutches over time. I bought used vehicles, so they probably already had some clutch damage to them, but getting the clutch changed is a pain in the ass, especially on older vehicles, and it's just unnecessary. Yeah, just learn to change your riding habits. It's just better overall for the lifespan of your vehicle. So learn from my mistakes. Number 4 problem I would say is getting too much bike. You got out of motorcycle riding school, you just got your license, whatever, yeah, and you're super hot, and you're like, yo, that bike looks sexy, well, I need to have that bike right there. Are you getting the bikes to look cool? Some people do that. Whatever. I'm not mad at that. Live your life. Do whatever you got to do. But if you're getting like 1,000, 1,200, maybe even like one of the higher CC level bikes, those are really big bikes, or maybe even a super bike, you'll be in second gear going 30, 40 miles per hour. That's just unnecessary. If you're going to be on the highway for long periods of time, I would say that if you're a road warrior, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you want to be in like second, third, fourth gear, man. You're just chilling. I mean, just going 50, 60, right? Just going for long periods of time, and that large engine can handle that workload. But if you live in the city like myself, yeah, you could get away with a 250cc. You could get away with maybe even 150cc. Tell you the truth, I rode that for like a couple of years in the Caribbean while I was living out in Grenada. That was fine. Yeah, I was going up hills, down hills, all kinds of things, but actually, tell you the truth, I like to rock like about 500 to like 750, like maybe that range. I could go up to like maybe 800, yeah, but I don't really like to go to the thousands because it's just second gear going 34 miles per hour. It's just, I don't really need that. It's just too much bike for me, and also it eats up more gas, and it's a thicker bike and a larger body frame. I'm not racing anybody. I'm just trying to take care of like little local spots and take care of like some errands that I got to do. So but a 600, 750 can also handle the highway for a good amount of time. So hour, 2 hours, maybe even 3 hours sometimes. I have an older bike, so it's probably better to just go for an hour. But that's fine for me. Little local trips. That's exactly what I want. And in the city, New York City, going from Brooklyn to Queens, I could do that. In an hour. Do whatever I got to do down there. Bike's cooled off a little bit, then I'm going to take my next ride, and I'm good to go. So. Getting too much bike is definitely a huge mistake that people think they'll grow into it, and there's a certain truth to that, but it's not so much growing into it. It's like, what is a bike really right for? I do believe that someone who's a real beginner, right, could actually theoretically, if they did all the riding on the highway, right, they could probably get used to 1,000cc pretty fast, and also highway riding is not that dangerous, right? You don't have people coming from other directions. You don't have sudden stops. You don't have the turns are not crazy, so that's fine. But most people are doing their riding in city environments or like towns or things like that, and getting way too much bike, and basically just they call them like a rocket, like putting a rocket between your legs. It's not a good idea. Don't do that. Okay. The last thing I'm going to say, the last mistake that a lot of beginners make is that they think of their car. They think of their bike as in relation to the car. A lot of people have driven a car first, so they understand things from the aspect of having a car. So let's say, for example, that a huge myth out there is that bikes can start faster and stop faster than larger vehicles. And if you look at it just from like a, very simplistic point of view, right, with the equal amount of force, right, if you have a smaller vehicle, then yeah, like, equal force on a smaller vehicle will make it go faster, move it further. But okay, there's also a real huge critical component that a lot of people are missing. Look at those huge tractor trailers. Notice how that they don't just have a one tire right? On the left hand side and the right hand side, they'll actually have 2 tires. It's kind of doubled up, and you're like, well, why is that? What? Does that even make sense? Yes, it does. Okay, because the critical factor in that whole equation is friction. The amount of friction that you have on the road will play a huge part in your ability to stop and your ability to accelerate out of a certain situation. And if you're on a motorcycle with 2 skinny little tires, and you have like a fat Jeep that's empty, right? And your bike is loaded down with stuff, right? And the Jeep has empty, and that Jeep has like a powerful V8, like pushing it forward, and it has like these thick wheels. It might be able to accelerate, or more likely brake, right? Probably it's hard for it to accelerate as fast, but it can brake faster than you. So don't get too hot on riding quick behind these tractor trailers thinking you got it all good like that, because if it's full, yeah, but some of these trucks, it's a simplistic thing, and a lot of people in the comments, I'm sure, are going to try to eat me up on this one, but don't just think that because my bike is lighter, it just has these magical properties where it's always going to stop faster than anything else. That's just completely, if you're on a patch of road and you see that there's like loose gravel there, and the car ahead of you stopped on, and there was like a surface change, and they stopped all nice, you might be skidding for a little bit, so you have to be aware of multiple things on that bike. Do not just think, one thing, I'm safe, it's all good, no, game over. Absolutely not. And another way that, I'll just add a little bit onto this, like when you're putting like passengers, or when you're putting, like luggage, or whatever other stuff you're putting on your vehicle to like transport it, that's going to affect the way that your certain things are going to happen on the bike that won't happen in a car. For instance, right, you'll be in the car, someone will be riding next to you, and that's cool, they could do whatever they want, right? But I've been on my bike, right, with someone who hasn't ridden before, right? That's definitely a concern. And then I'll be in that turn at 60 miles per hour leaning, right? And they won't be used to it, right? And then they won't be sure what to do. And then while I'm in the middle of the turn, right, they'll decide to throw their weight in another direction, right, to try to help me, yeah? If you're a motorcycle rider, you know that that's an extremely disturbing experience. It's not cool at all, yeah? So before you, you could just take someone else and just throw them in your ride and, go to the highway and take these curves. But if you're going to put someone else on your vehicle, you should tell them, look, when we enter these curves, these things are going to happen, and just follow my lead, or, when we're in curves, don't, change your body position, or, change things all of a sudden. That's not what we're trying to get done right here. So, hey, look, some of you guys may have some other ideas. You might not think that this list is comprehensive enough. You might think that this list is wrong. Be sure to put the comments down below. Definitely want to hear from you. Thanks for checking out another episode of Squid Chronicle, and stay fighting out there. See you on the next one. Peace.
These videos are independently produced and funded, and your support is deeply appreciated. Liking the video and subscribing helps the channel, and ringing the bell icon will keep you notified as to when we upload new content. You can also check out our other social media platforms. We'd love to hear from you. We also have our event calendar, links in the description. On our Reddit, you can come in and get on the conversation, and check out some of the memes. Like and share, it really helps us in the YouTube algorithm. Every week on Sunday, we have a live online meeting where you can join us in working to create and nurture the change that we need. I'd like to invite you to check out some of our other videos. Until next time, may all your actions bring you success. Stay focused, stay strong, and reinvest in yourself as well as your community. Together, our efforts can be greater than the sum of the parts. The power is in your hands. Thanks for watching.